Welcome to the Dirt Court Jesters Podcast, your home for dirt track racing across the country and right here in the Ohio Valley. This is Josh, and in episode 51, we've got Wings and Rings, Childhood Memories, and Weasel Philpot, driver of the number 52 Modified, joins the show. I hope you guys are ready to get dirty. This week in dirt racing history, we're going back to May 8th of 2004 and Fremont Speedway, where the All-Star Circuit of Champions were on hand. The lowrider Dale Blaney would get the victory, Lee Jacobson second, and Bill Rose would round out the podium.
Let me talk to you!
This week's talking points want to start by talking about a new USAC record by 1 day. Justin Grant wins at Kokomo and has won all three USAC national divisions in 2025. No one's done it faster than JG by winning all three by April 27th of 2025. Dave Steele used to hold that record. He had won all three by April 28th, and he did that in 2002. I'm sure Charlie is thrilled about that one. I did not have Danny Dietrich or Jacob Allen in a social media battle on my bingo card, but here we are. Danny would go live on April 30th to discuss his issue with the 1A, explaining that he believed that the internal parts of the 1A's top wing have been altered, and it should be against the rules and is also a safety concern. Danny believes tech needs to be stepped up at racetracks, and although I don't necessarily disagree with that portion of it, my question would be, at what cost do we start paying more for tech and still ignoring other safety issues that are at the racetrack? We also know that everybody's trying to bend the rules as best they can to get that win, Danny included. Moving on to paint schemes, crossovers from High Limit and NASCAR this past weekend. Brad Sweet and Chase Elliott with the gold schemes to celebrate Napa's 100 years. And the Kreitz Racing going away from the traditional scheme and a partnership with Interstate Batteries for the race with Christopher Bell and Darren Pittman in Texas. Very cool to see those crossovers. Ryan Blaney and Will Thomas joined Dave Blaney as new ownership team of Sharon Speedway. This should only make things better out there. They've been building at Sharon. They went to weekly 410 racing this year. I can't imagine this is going to do anything but make things better out at Sharon Speedway. And wrapping up this week's talking points with a story. I can remember when I was a kid, specifically on Fridays during the summer, on the weekends, that I would go with my dad, watching the sky regularly throughout the day because we didn't have internet then, and hoping we'd have good weather that evening so we could go to Limeland. That was how I felt this past Friday. Watching the sky throughout the day, hoping we would be able to race that night. It was great to get back to Eldora, a place that has started to feel like a second home to me, and I think the same can be said for my oldest son. And I think all of us who enjoy this sport get that same feeling whenever we get to our respective tracks. A place to have a cold beer, a chat with old and new friends, to watch some great racing, and forget some of the troubles of everyday life. At one point, I went to get a Busch Light and a pizza burger, and the card reader was down. And you know who was taking cash and changing people out in the grandstands? The new GM, Levi Jones. Man, it was good to get back home. Now let's go behind the rock screen.
You're welcome to come on in. We'll bring out the moonshine, start telling lies and calling up the women. But no talk about racing. Come on.
Hey everybody, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters Podcast, joined by Weasel Philpot, driver of the number 52 Modified out of Bradford, Ohio. Mr. Philpot, thanks for coming on. How you doing tonight?
It's a sure thing, man. Doing good.
Very good. 26 years in racing in 2025, is that right?
Yep.
So, like I was talking to you about this earlier, I'd imagine most people probably know this or have a good idea about it, but I'm going to ask you anyways. How'd you get into racing?
Kind of just my dad, he's done it for so long, so it's just kind of a bug. Once you get in it and it's in your blood and you just ride along with it.
Yeah, I was, I've some conversation between your brother and I beforehand, and this is the 54th year of Flippo racing. Is that correct?
It's probably somewhere, yeah, probably around there, yeah.
That's a long time, and not only that, but uh, I enjoy this stat myself, being kind of a homer when it comes to Eldora. Is Flippo has raced Eldora every year since 1979.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Minus the COVID year. That's the only year that
Yeah,
we missed.
we don't talk. We don't talk about that.
Yeah. It's a bunch of shit anyway.
So you and I talked actually at the race the race cars stars expo there at Pickwa Center, and we talked about a few different things really. And one of the things that we talked about was the amount of changes that stock cars and modifies they've seen over the years.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's crazy. You've been around it a long time, not only yourself as a driver, but your dad as a driver. What are your thoughts about that?
It's the expense is more now versus what it used to be. But, back then it was still expensive. The cost of living, everything has changed so much. The days of going to a junkyard and getting parts are pretty much over with. You don't have all the work of skinning out a Monte Carlo or something, or a Regal or something like that to make a body out of. So that aspect's a little bit saves on the time. So I don't know. It's kind of a balance. What you've gained and time and convenience you spend money wise.
How much different are the cars driving now compared to when you first started?
Modifieds are way different. I think a long time for me was to adjust from. I picked up a lot of bad habits from the way the old stock cars used to run, and as modified, you're sideways going down a straightaway, and you feel like you have to think, is it lack of grip, or is it just the way the car's set up? And it kind of gives you a false reading, I guess, and I think I contribute some of that to my early run-ins of stock cars. They really didn't tail out too much back then.
Yeah, that's that's kind of what prompted this question is the stock cars. I can remember them back when I was a kid, and like you said, like you go to the junkyard and gut out get an old Monte Carlo or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and take it to the racetrack. And nowadays, and I've had this conversation with some other guys. It's like what I used to remember as a modified is now a stock car, and it's just crazy how it's
Modifieds
changed.
are more like late models now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, even so much so that I think I want to say when I had a conversation with Jerry Bowersock, he was telling me that really there's not that much difference. Like, I mean, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but really you could run a late model just as well as you could run a modified.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I
That
mean,
is
anymore you could spend on a car and a good motor. You can have $100,000 easy wrapped up in a modified
you
with
talked
no
about
spare parts.
sure, right. I mean, there's just so many things that come into factor into that now, right? With
Mm-hmm.
how much shocks are playing a part in racing, and we're starting to see it. Um, I'll go to the dirt track and watch anything. I tend to lean towards the sprint cars, but if the race is good, I don't care what it is.
Right.
And for the longest time, we were talking about shocks with the late models, and then it was kind of the modifieds, and now all of a sudden we're hearing conversation about shocks with sprint cars, which I mean has been going on here recently, but seems like more so picking up traction now, and how big the shocks are, not aside from the motor, how big the shock game is in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember buying this old Pro WB welded bearing shocks for $50, and you just ran what you ran. That's what you had.
Not today.
No, not today. I stepped up and I don't even remember when it was, and I got $100 Bilsteins, and I thought I thought I was big shit then.
So did you race anything before stock cars? Any go-kart racing?
No. I had a couple opportunities to run go-karts, but and Dad was always so busy racing himself, it never gave me much time.
Well,
And then
I'm glad you. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because this is another conversation you and I had talking about your dad, John, and what's funny is that you're running that white, red, yellow number 52, which I told you like that was iconic to me. Like if there was, I don't know that there's really one other car that's just burned in my mind from when I was a
yeah,
kid than your dad's number 52 stock car. Um, and it's funny because at one time you wanted him to change it.
yeah. I seen everybody else's cars. Every year they were different, something different. I said, well, why don't we do something different? He's like, well, then people come to races and they don't know who you are because your car looks different. So it kind of stuck. When I started driving for other people, it kind of ventured off to what they were doing. I slowly kind of migrated my way back. That means a lot to all of us. And I've had a lot of people come up and ask, and talk about how it brought back memories of their childhood because seeing Dad run it all the time. So,
Yeah.
it's cool. I'll stick with it.
So how did you, I didn't ask you this, but how did you, I know you were, I recall pictures of your modified prior to the current paint scheme, where you had your sponsorships on there, and I think you were even running the number like more towards the back panel.
Yeah, we
So
ran it on the quarter panel for a while.
what made you change? What made you change from the schemes that you had been running and say, you know what, I want to run Dad's scheme?
Uh, when I started driving for, I drive for Mike Garkey at Burkittsville. He's just north of Eldora there. I started driving for him, and he always had blue and white, more blue and white cars mostly. He had Ed Hodenshield drove for him, and Brad Hess and a few others. So we kind of, when I started with that, is kind of what it was, and then we got a different car, and we kind of switched to the black then. And our engine sponsor at the time, they wanted us to have their logo on the door as big as possible because they were sponsoring our engine for us. And at that time, Kenny Wallace he kind of had the same thing where his number was on the quarter panel. And I think he had Jags or something on the side. So that's why I kind of got that idea off of that. So that's kind of why we went that way, just to get them as much exposure as possible.
Sure.
And then, when was it? 2018, Dad come down with cancer. And we ran the 18 season, and not knowing how his prognosis was going to be, I thought, man, I want to do something for him. So that's what kind of I wanted to bring the red and white back, and I talked to some of the sponsors, and yeah, they were all cool with it. I told the reasoning why I wanted to do it, and so we switched it, and it was it kind of hit with the people, but it kind of brought me back home too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
That's awesome. I wasn't aware of that. I appreciate you sharing that story. That's an awesome thing to do. And then you got to see the reaction that you got, because I got to feel that you knew you were going to get some kind of reaction when you switched back to the paint style that your dad John was running.
Mm-hmm.
Was it what you were expecting? Was it bigger than you were expecting? How was that response?
As far as like other people,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people I guess more than I expected, I guess. Just of how much memories it brought back. Guys that used to race with Dad, that I raced with, or just fans, people that grew up on that paint scheme. So yeah, it was a little more than what I expected, but it was cool.
Nice. You were the Eldora Modified Rookie of the Year, and as we said earlier, Flippo's raced at Eldora every year since 1979. What makes that place so awesome?
It's Eldora. I mean, there ain't you go anywhere in the world, every race fan knows where it's at. And then the fact that you grew up, 20, 25 minutes from there, and that's your home track. And I always tell Dad and my son racing. I said, we're this close, and we race here all the time, and we don't think nothing of it. And you see all these people that come for the World 100 or whatever, and they're just blown away by it, and we just take it for granted because it's in our backyard.
It's crazy. It's that close to you, but I mean, there's got to be something that feels different though about pulling into that track compared to the other tracks. There
It's
has to be
just
something.
it's just like going home.
Yeah.
This is just like every time we go, me and Dad are always in the rig together, and we'll take off and head up there, and that's not very far drive, from the shop, but it's always that first race, well, here we go again, another year in the books, and I mean, because a lot of times it's me and him on the road, uh, so we get there, and it's just there. Me and him's talk too. We could not even be a race going on. You just go sit in the parking lot, and you're just happy just to be there. It's just like pulling in your driveway at home.
It's funny you say that because there definitely has been a time where I've stopped by on the way to somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
just to pull in the parking lot. Nothing.
Yeah.
Last time I did it was wintertime. Nothing's
Yeah.
going on. I'm like, well, I'm going past. I got to stop, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At least I always drive by and look just to see what's going on. And
Yeah.
I got a
Well,
buddy of mine that works there, so I'm like, well, if something's going on, he'd tell me anyway. So
yeah, you never know with Tony. He's always got something going on. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I'd certainly hope I didn't get an opportunity to get into the renovated ballroom last year, so I'm really hoping that is open and ready for action this season.
yeah, I've been going in there for a long time. I haven't been in it since it's been redone though.
I've
So
seen video and pictures,
yeah,
and
right.
it looks a lot different than it used to. And I think it'll be cool if I think their intention is for like major race weekends, which is really most of them there,
Right.
is to kind of have that as a place outside when maybe the gates aren't open to the track, which is rare. But
Yeah,
I don't
people
know. I'm
meet
curious
up.
to see, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how it goes. It's always a good time at Eldora.
Oh yeah.
So, do you have a schedule kind of laid out for yourself and your team here in 2025, or are you kind of picking and choosing, or what's
Well,
2025 look like for you?
we always try to do all the Eldora stuff. We'll run that for points, and then we'll do all the Waynesfield stuff. I think we got four modified races there, so we'll hit all those. The rest is just going to be just kind of fill in where we can. I'll probably get back over to Montpelier this year. I haven't been there for a few years. I wanted to get there last year, just never worked out timing wise. I went to Lawrenceburg once last year. I'd like to get back down there. Never raced the Atomic. Uh, I'd like to get down there and run sometime. So uh, there's a few on the bucket list I'd like to hit. But as far as a set schedule, the Eldora and the Waynesfield are for sure. And everything else is just you got to play in family time and everything else. So, and my wife's pregnant. She's due first week of July, so we got to play that factor in there too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And we do camping trips with friends, and then take off and take the kids and do stuff. So whenever we're not racing, we've always got something every weekend. Seems like.
Well, I mean, it's good to have the balance, and you got with kids in the mix. It's
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the right thing by making sure you want to get to the track and race, but at the same time, like
Right.
I got to make sure the kids are got to have that happy medium there,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Well, you mentioned Waynesfield, so I got to ask, what do you think about farmers taking over Waynesfield?
Ah, I'm all for it. I mean, hell, as long as it stays open, I'm happy. As long as they run modifieds, I'm good. I love that place.
It's a cool facility, and I tell you, the one thing that I think it's cool how 1 and 2 goes over the lip, and there's nothing there, and there's no wall in the backstretch. But man,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, that turn 3 where the tires are just makes me cringe every once in a
Hey,
while
yeah,
because I've
I've
seen a
about
couple guys get over that, and you can't get back on. I
yeah,
guess they trimmed it down some so you could get back on the track, but there was a time where it was had too big of a lip on it to where if you
yeah,
got over it, you're out.
yeah. It was crowned up on the backstretch. We went there a few years ago when Jerry Bowersock hit that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I got ran off the backstretch and did the same thing and straddled it. Well, figured out the front cross member had hit the crown of that track, so the front wheels were kind of just hanging.
hmm
Well, then it's like a ski. Then you're just
yeah,
full go at them tires. I'm thinking, shit, I'm gonna do the same thing Jerry did, and at the
yeah.
last second it turned. But yeah, I was braced up. I was ready to eat it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a few eat it there, and
And
I guess
it's
them.
happened a couple times actually,
Yeah,
and I've caught it close. And a buddy of mine, he lives a mile from me here, Davey Gant. He smoked them tires. I think it was last year and junked a car. It's brutal. They're brutal.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what the answer to that because I think it's a cool track the way it's laid
Mhm.
out, where it's got the wall in 3 and 4 and the wall in the front, but then it doesn't have wall 1 and 2 or in the back. It's just cool where it sets there, and I'm with you. I'm glad it's coming back because I didn't realize Larry jumped in and took care of it. And it sounded like if he didn't get involved in it, that it might have been turned back into farm ground, and now
Right.
the farmers are going to be running it, and I'm just glad to see that track that's
Yeah,
staying.
I've been going there since 2003 uh, when it very first opened. And it was just flat in the middle of a cornfield, and that was it.
Yeah,
I think they might have had one set of bleachers, and I mean, it was just pretty much like going to a backyard go kart track.
you know,
I mean, there was nothing
yeah,
there. You pulled in between the cornfields, and it kind of. I always explained it kind of like Field of Dreams. Like you pull in between them cornfields, and it kind of opens up, and then there's a racetrack. It was
yeah.
pretty cool setup.
It is. It is. It's definitely a track that I try to tell people to get to, and the racing is typically really good there.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
you talked
yeah. I
about
think once
bucket
they get
list tracks.
the track deal figured out, last
Yeah,
year track prep was a little lacking. There's a big hole getting in the one, and it seemed like every week we went back. Like you pull out there for hot laps, and you can see the hole like as soon as you pull on the racetrack. I was like, well, they didn't fix that. It actually
yeah.
cost. I think it cost us a race last year because I was running second and went through that hole and it broke a spindle, and I think it cost me a race. But that is what it is now. But
It's weird you talk about that and how I just had a thought when you were mentioning that with tracks and how they develop holes in certain spots, and just thinking about that in turn one there at Waynesfield,
mhm,
and until they really, I don't know if you remember this or if you saw any pictures of it or anything, but there used to be that hole going into 3 at Eldora, and they
yeah,
actually cut like a big square out of the track and replaced it to try to fix that. It seems like every track you go to has that one spot that is almost
yeah.
always going to develop a hole.
Eldora always had that one there, and every racetrack seemed like they move around too. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
Waynesfield, it was the same way. It always had a hole in three. First, like race or two, it would be, and this is before Larry had it. It was always like smooth going into 3, the whole track, and then as the year went on, it started getting a hole in 3, and then every week it just got a little worse and a little worse and worse. By the end of the year, you'd hit it, and you'd bullfrog all the way from turn 3 to turn 4 before you'd touch back down the ground. So
I'm sure there's something to do with the agronomy and the fact that you're running cars on the track regularly. I'm sure it's all that stuff way over my head.
Smarter than me,
yeah. It's just interesting. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah.
You talked about tracks and a bucket list. Is there anything like outside of this general area that's a bucket list track that you're thinking about making a long haul to one day?
There's a lot of places I'd love to go. I was actually watching, where the hell was it? I was watching Flow the other night, and I was watching Westfall at the Silver Crown race, and I thought, well, that'd be cool to run Terre Haute. And then I thought, well, I see the IMC modifieds out like in Iowa. I thought, man, it'd be cool to go out there and run something. I mean, granted, our cars ain't legal out there, but it'd be cool to get a ride out there and just go out there and run. I think that'd be cool. Run Boone or at Marshalltown or any of them.
Yeah.
Fairbury, that's on my list. I'd like to get there.
Is that one you're planning on getting to then?
Before I quit, I want to go there.
All right. Very cool.
There's a lot I want to go. I think once I decide to hang it up, I'm just going to go all over the place, or as well as money and allows, I guess.
There you go. So, I guess another question you've helped prompt to me is, outside of the modified, is there anything else you've thought about jumping in before? Any other kind of race car, sprint car, midget?
Years ago, I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on getting a non-wing sprint car. And this was back when Waynesfield had just started. It was there were guys running carbureted sprint cars. So I thought, man, I could throw something together and go up there and have fun. I mean, I was on racing for $500, I think. And a lot of guys that we had raced with in stock cars, like Barney Craig, he had a sprint car, and he ran it up there. And I thought, man, we could do that. And Dad's like, well, I'd like to have a sprint car sometime. I thought, well, maybe we'll just do it. And then I was 23, and I had my first back surgery at 23. So that kind of put the halts to all that. I still like to get in one, just to go out and just run a few laps. I think it would be cool. I'd love pretty much anything else I would get in as long as I fit.
I gotta think there's somebody out there that'll let you hop in their car and just take it for a spin.
Well, I'm good buddies with Westfall, and I'm like, I've never asked. If somebody asked me, yeah, I would.
You gotta,
but
you gotta ask and make sure your brother puts it out on social media when you're ripping around that. That'd be awesome.
I don't want anybody to see me. I look like an idiot.
Well,
they're putting around.
Make sure he doesn't record until after you've got a few laps in and start to get a feel for it, right?
Right. I don't know. I think us racers, I think they're all like, if you could race a wheelchair if you had to, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So 2025, you're talking about, running Eldora for points and Waynesfield, and you've got some other tracks, it sounds like, on your radar.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say going into the season is a goal for your team?
Get a win. I've been in a drought. I don't think I've won since 2018. And my kids remind me all the time that I haven't won forever. So I constantly hear about it all the time. We've been close a lot. I've had I feel like we should have won a lot of races. But just like last year, I felt like I had 2 of them in the bag and lost them. And we're fast. I mean, everywhere we go, we unload, we're fast. We got the track record at Waynesfield. It's just, we just got to put a whole night together.
You You mentioned having a couple get away from you, and that was a question that I had in mind. Is if there was a race that you could go back and do it all over again, which ones, if you had to pick one, specifically stands out to you, and why?
I'd probably go clear back to the stock car days. It would have been my very first feature I would have won. Um, it was just a regular show at Waynesfield. This was 2005, and I led the whole feature. And Babcock he was running second, and he was the one to beat anywhere at that time. And I led the whole race, and he showed me a nose on the backstretch coming to get the white, and I thought, I'll fix him the next time. I'll just move up a half a car. Well, we come to get the white, and I moved up a half a car going in three and got tight, and he snuck underneath of me. And I hauled it back in there, going back into one to try to pass him back, and I spun out because I drove it in there too hard. And I always have kicked myself in the ass for that one. It was the same night, actually, I met my wife that night at the racetrack, so it wasn't a complete loss.
There you go.
And I ended up, it kind of worked out. That was just a regular show. I went back the following week, and they had that J.R. Butler Memorial Race. The first one they ever had, it was 1,000 to win. And then somebody right before the feature, they put up like an extra $500, so it was 1,500 to win. That was pretty good for stock cars. So I ended up going up and winning that one. So my first win was that race. So that was always pretty memorable.
That's a big win there for your first win.
But the whole Babcock off that whole time and lose it on last lap, well, I never forgive myself for that one.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, how did you get the name Weasel?
Honestly, I don't know. When I was growing up, I had a bunch of different nicknames. It seemed like it was different weekly. But when I was about 4, I think Dad started calling me Weasel, and then it just stuck.
Okay.
And now everybody knows me as that, and a lot of people don't even know my real name. So, but it's always just Weasel, and that's what I go by at the racetrack, and that's what everybody knows me as.
Nice. That's good. If Dad gives you a nickname in the sticks, then
Yeah,
picked a good one.
yeah.
All right. Don't have a bunch for you left here, but before we go, I've got some lightning round style questions for you. Got 10 questions for you. Try to give me the answers as quick as you can. First one is celebrity crush growing up.
Celebrity crush growing up? Now you're going to make me think. That's a long time ago. Probably like Jenny McCarthy or Carmen Electra or one of them, probably.
All right. Okay. Favorite cartoon?
South Park.
Do you have a favorite pro wrestler?
Growing up, it was always Hulk Hogan.
Okay. All right. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, did you see the World of Outlaws and his?
Yeah, I seen something on X about that earlier today.
His beer, they're apparently joining forces together.
I think everybody liked Hulk back in.
Yeah. All right. Favorite song?
I don't know if I have one in particular. I'm kind of a music junkie. I've just got a wide variety.
Okay.
Leader of Men, Nickelback.
All right. Nice. Very good. Very good. One location that you have saved on your phone map?
I have none. I hardly ever use my map.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite vacation spot?
Mine different from everybody else in my family. They all want to go to the beach and everywhere else, but I'd rather go spend a weekend at a racetrack someplace. We went to Myrtle Beach last year. That was cool. There, Tennessee, any of them really, or anywhere away from work and the daily grind is where you can just kind of relax is good enough for me.
Let me kind of expand on your answer. So, is there a track that you've been able to go race fan at, or you weren't racing, but you went and you were race fanning that you're like
Um,
that facility is just my favorite place to go?
I don't know if it's nothing really. It's hard to beat Eldora. Um, we went to Knoxville for the Nationals a few times. That was cool. The atmosphere there is pretty neat. You know, everything just revolves around the races and all the businesses and everything. They got flags and stuff everywhere. I don't know. The Knoxville atmosphere is pretty cool. Chili Bowl, that's fun. Um,
Yeah,
but usually by the time you get to the end by Saturday, your fun meter's paid and you're ready to go home. Uh,
I've, I've
and I
heard
don't know how
that.
much fun it'd be anymore that I don't drink anymore. I was, I was talking to people here a while back, and I told Westfall that I said I don't know how much fun it'd be if I don't drink anymore. Probably be boring. Save
Well,
myself the trip,
uh,
just watch it on flow.
there you go. There you go. So the next question was going to be, and you've just answered it. Something few people know about you. And so you've said that you have stopped drinking. So I've assumed that's something few people know about you.
Yeah. I drank a lot. Uh, it's all social. But
Yeah.
a few years ago, I ended up coming down with COVID and about died. Went in the hospital. I was in ICU for 5 days. And then found out I was diabetic, like severe bad diabetic. So I had to make some wholesale lifestyle changes to keep plugging away. So um, yeah, I think I weighed 280 plus back then. Um, and then once I straightened my diet up, I got clear down to almost 200 pounds. Um, but I'm sitting right at 230 right now, so I've lost 50 pounds total. Yeah, I haven't. I quit drinking. I give up a lot. Just the whole lifestyle changes. You know, not going to drive-throughs anymore and fast food and getting all that junk. So I still
Yeah.
eat my ice cream here and there. That's my only weakness, I think, is the sweets.
That's all right.
And the way my mom
It,
cooks, it's kind of hard not to. That's her wheelhouse is the sweet. So I'm kind of screwed at that point.
well,
They kill me. I can't
that's all
have
right.
that. You might as well kill me.
You got rid of some of the other stuff, right? Keep the
Yeah,
other hey.
yeah. It's all about balance.
That's right. That's right. If you pulled in the driveway and opened the garage door, what is one car you would want sitting inside the garage?
Um, race car wise, or just
It
any
could be,
car.
or it could be, yeah, it could just be something you want to take out for a cruise.
Um, not real big on cars. Like I'm not a big car like junkie. Um, the old stuff, yeah, like a '68 Camaro. That would be my dream car if I had one, or a '72 Chevy pickup. That's my dream vehicles. I guess either one of those, if I had sitting there, that'd be cool. If not race car, yeah. But if I had a
Gotcha.
new
That's
rocket or sitting there, I'd be happy with that too.
definitely. All right. So, do you have? I know you had to change some things around, but do you have a go-to meal?
Um, I can't hardly pass up Texas Roadhouse.
Okay.
I swapped the double loaded fries with cheese and bacon. Now I do two side salads instead.
Oh,
But
oh,
yeah, I eat steak every day.
nice. I couldn't agree with you more on the steak.
Yeah, it's hard to pass that up.
That's right. All right. Last question for you. What's one of the funniest stories you can share from the track?
From the racetrack?
It could be from the track or a shop, on the way to the track, going home from the track.
Nothing's real. The only one that really stands out like here recently. So my nephews helped me on my race car. They're my main pit crew. So we were taking off and heading to Montpelier to get a race, and we stopped. We left the shop and we got there and UNC to fill up the rig. And my one nephew, it's his first time. I think we was going to Montpelier, maybe Gas City. And my nephew, he went to go unlock the trailer. He set the keys on the back deck of the race car and put ice in the cooler and stuff, and then closed everything up. And then went to go get in the truck. I said, "Where's the keys?" He was like, "Oh no." He left them lay on the back deck of the race car and locked the trailer back up. Luckily, we weren't far from home. They had to call Mom. She was still at the house, so she went out in the shop and got the spare trailer keys and had to come back and unlock. And I think we had actually blew a tire out. Like as soon as we left the house or something that day, we pulled out of the driveway and the tire blew out. So I was just ready to go home at that point. I said, just turn around and go back to the house. So that's the only one that really, and he felt like an ass. He was his first time going, and he made a big mistake like that. We've never let him live that down. But that's the only one that really fresh that sticks out. There's a lot of them I've had, but that one really sticks out the most, I guess.
Good deal. Well, Weasel Philpot, we're wrapping this up. Where can everybody follow you on social media? And do you have some sponsors that you'd like to thank?
Weasel Philpot Garkey Racing on Facebook, and same on X. My brother, he runs, Matt, he helps me on the car. He runs my Facebook page. He takes care of all that. The X account, I do that, and then pretty much the only reason I got it is just a follow up on my political news and see what's going on in the world. Sponsors, Dave Didier at Performance Powder Coating. He's sponsored me for several years now. He's a big supporter. Puckett Trucking, he's sponsored me, I think, almost every year that I've raced of 26. Shockman Lumber, Wagon Wheel Nightclub, Burkesville Garage, BC Warner Inspections, Big K Ranch, Gilbert Station, Klingshire Trucking, Rob's Auto Parts, Ohio Crankshaft. I got to look at my cheat sheet here. Bordner Welding, Steve Border Welding, Floor Reflections, S&S Auto Detailing, Bikey Dipple Trucking, Dyslexic Funk, they're a band that plays at our fundraiser every year. Threw a couple decals on the car for them this year. They helped us out. So, and then my car owner, Mike, and my mom and dad, we keep the car at their house at the shop. And so they help us out a lot. And it helps, too, because life is so busy. And then a lot of times Dad will have a lot of stuff done before I don't even have to go over there during the weeks a lot. So that helps me out with the kids and stuff being so busy. And my nephews, they take care of everything at the racetrack. And my brother, Matt, and his wife, Heidi, my cousin TJ and his wife, they all do a lot for me. And I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, it sounds like a family affair, and it's been a family affair for over 5 decades. Excited to see the white, red, yellow 52 modified hit the track. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Thanks for having me.
As always, want to give a shout out to Victory Fuel. From Purple Potion to Throttle Punch to Lucky Lemon, fueled by electrolytes, charged with vitamins, and kid-friendly. Fuel your victory at drinkvictory.com and use the code Jesters10 at checkout to save. Drinkvictory.com and use the code Jesters10 at checkout to save.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer. 3 beers. 4 beers. Oh no.
This week's race recap and racing to come. Mother Nature was not playing nice again. I think this was the worst week yet. May 1st, Texas Motor Speedway in the Stockyard Stampede, night number 1 with High Limit. Brett Marks would get the win, Brad Sweet in second, and Sam Haferteef Jr. in third. May 2nd, Attica in the American Ironman late models. Rusty Schlink goes 4 for 4 at Attica this season and gets the win. Rusty Schlink with the victory. Colton Burdett in second and Ryan Markham in third. In the 305s, Dustin Stroop with the win. Jimmy McGrath Jr. would finish second and Paul Weaver in third. And in the trucks, Keith Sorg gets the victory. Jamie Miller in second and Sean Valeni in third. Circle City and Lucas Oil late models. Brandon Overton with the win. Devin Moran in second and Hudson O'Neill in third. Eldora Speedway gets it rolling for 2025. And the first night of Let's Race 2 with the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars and USAC Sprints. In the Sprint Cars, David Gravel gets the win. Donnie Schatz in second and Cole Macedo in third. Macedo was moving. Donnie was moving. I don't know if anybody would have been able to catch Gravel if there were more laps left in that race. I was surprised the top didn't fall off because you could smell the rubber burning. But really, there were 2 lines. I don't know that the bottom was that good. Some guys were trying to run in the middle. The top was where it was at. Good race there for the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. Moving to the USAC Sprints, Brady Bacon gets the victory. Justin Grant in second. And Kyle Cummins would round out the podium. Great to get back to the track. Had a chance to hang out with Blake and Schlinn as well in the grandstands and watch some racing with them. Always good to catch up with some folks from Indiana. Make sure to check out the guys on dirt tracks and root racks. Hat tip to Eldora as the last checkered flew at around 9:30 just as raindrops started to fall. And also want to give a hat tip to the family team of Ryan Barr making their first A-main from the heat race at Eldora. Congratulations to that team. Moving to Kankakee County Speedway in the Passaic Memorial with the Mars Modifieds. Michael Long gets the win. Cole Falloway in second and Stephen Brooks in third. Limeland and GLSS. Max Stanball with the win. Dustin Daggett in second and Mike Keegan in third. In the Modifieds, Brennan Sherman gets the victory. Shane O'Connor in second and Drew Charlson in third. Stock Cars, Todd Sherman gets the win. Chris Douglas in second. And Tony Anderson would round out the podium. Moving to Mississippi Thunder Speedway with the World of Outlaw late models. Tyler Erb with the win. Nick Hoffman in second and Bobby Pierce in third. May 3rd and Butler Motors Speedway. In the 410s, Darren Nider gets the win. Bryce Lucius in second and Tyler Gunn in third. In the Modifieds, Robbie Henderson with the victory. Corey Bevard in second. And Mannix Firkiran would round out the podium. In the Street Stocks, Travis Kyle gets the win. Dwayne Morley from 16th to 2nd. And Max Stetler would round out the podium. In the 4 cycles, Dominic Morehouse with the win. Hunter Jewett in second and Roy Moses in third. Moving to Knoxville in the 410s, Ryan Timms gets his first win at Knoxville. Congratulations to Ryan Timms. Brian Brown in second and Austin McCarl in third. Mississippi Thunder Speedway in the Dairyland Showdown with the World of Outlaw late models where Nick Hoffman gets the win. Bobby Pearson second and Brandon Overton in third. Montpelier gets the race. And in 410 non-wing action, Trey Osborne from 11th to the victory. Rylan Gray in second and Jack Boyer in third. Cale Coons would go from 20th to 4th in that race. In the Modifieds, Clayton Bryant from 11th to the victory. Drew Charlson in second and Tony Anderson in third. In the Super Stocks, Jeff Matheny gets the victory. John Merchant from 16th to 2nd. And Tony Anderson would round out the podium. Josh Robertson in this one goes from 19th to 4th. In the Street Stocks, Caleb Hinckley gets the win. Evan Turner from 20th to 2nd. And Alan Davis rounds out the podium. A lot of folks moving in that Street Stock race. Logan Molnex and Dustin Markham were both plus 15. You look through all those races at Montpelier, and the weather was not that great in this area. They were able to keep the rain away, and man, was there a lot of passing in the Milkman's Park that night. Texas Motor Speedway in the Stockyard Stampede finale with High Limit. Rico Abreu gets the victory. Kyle Larson in second and Brad Sweet in third. Wilmot Raceway in the Dick Colburn Classic with the IRA sprints where Jake Blackhurst gets the victory. Bryce Norris in second and Scotty Thiel rounds out the podium. Moving to racing to come, May 6th, LaSalle Speedway, Flow Racing Night in America. Lincoln Speedway is going to have the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. May 7th, 81 Speedway with High Limit. Spoon River Speedway with Flow Racing Night in America. May 8th, Lincoln Speedway, Flow Racing Night in America. Creek County Speedway, Extreme Midgets. May 9th, Attica and AFCS 410s as well as AFCS 305s and the Dirt Nerd Late Models. Bloomington Speedway with USAC Sprints. Circle City Raceway with Steel Block Sprints, Mods, Stocks, Crown Vics, and Micros. Farmer City Raceway is going to have Lucas Oil Late Models. Humboldt Speedway and the Extreme Midgets. I-96 with GLSS and GLTS. Lakeside Speedway with High Limit. Limaland in the Mike Stryker Memorial with the USAC Midwest Thunder Midgets, Modifieds, Stock Cars, and the Dirt Track Truck Series. Moeller Raceway Park in Late Models, Mods, and 4 other divisions. Ohio Valley Speedway with Rush Late Models. Las Trancas Late Models, Mods, and 3 other divisions. Raceway 7 with 5 divisions of racing. Rock Castle Speedway in the Finn Watson Memorial. Schaefer's Oil Southern Nationals with late models. Williams Grove with the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. Windy Hollow Speedway with ASCS. May 10th, Atomic and the American Ironman Late Model Series. IMCA. Race Saver 305s, Sport Mods, and Legends. Brownstown Speedway with late models, Stocks, Hornets, and Crown Vics. Fairbury and Lucas Oil Late Models. Florence Speedway with Modifieds, Late Models, Compacts, Crown Vics. Fremont with AFCS 410s and AFCS 305s as well as trucks. Goods Raceway, United CC Mods, and 6 other divisions. Hobstadt and the USAC Sprints. Lake Cumberland Speedway and the Schaefer's Oil Southern Nationals with late models. Lawrenceburg in the Junior Clark Memorial. For Pro Stocks, Mods, Hornets, Crown Vics will be there as well. Millstream's going to have Fast Boss and the USAC Midwest Thunder Midgets. Montpelier in their Race for the Roses with Modifieds, Stock Cars, and Hornets. Mudlick Valley Late Models, Mods, KDR Bombers, and Hornets. Paducah International Raceway with USCS. Sharon Speedway is going to have 410s, Mods, and Stocks. Sycamore Speedway in their season opener with IRA Sprints, as well as the IRA Lightning Sprints and Badger Midgets. Tri-City Speedway with High Limit. Tyler County Speedway and the Tammy Clegg Tribute with late models, as well as 6 other divisions. Williams Grove is going to have the World of Outlaw late models, and 81 Speedway is going to have the Extreme Midgets. Gentlemen, don't forget, Sunday, May 11th, is Mother's Day. Shout out to all the awesome moms out there.
Goodbye. Mwah! And good night, bad.
Thanks as always for listening to the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. Follow us on Spotify, X, Facebook, and YouTube. And we hope to see you guys at the track.